Thank you for returning to my channel, Anthracite Horror Stories. We're gonna do the old canary in a coal mine tonight. Except we are not in a coal mine, and this is not a canary. It's a parakeet. Alright. Zoom in here. Oh, oh. Okay, little budge.
Aw, that's what
it's upside down.
Upside
Alright, bud. Here we go.
Budgie.
He's like, I don't like this. Okay, but there you go. Good boy. Good canary. Look, he's right on the perch.
That's cute.
Okay, so I wanted to do a video talking about canaries in coal mines. So I looked on eBay and I noticed that canary cages were like $150. They were $80. So I was like, I'll make my own canary cage, which I did, with the help of my wife, thank God. What a nightmare. I had a lot of black walnut from accidental black walnut tree that I killed that I thought was dead. So I lumbered that wood out a few years ago. I milled it down, and with the help of my father-in-law, I have an abundance of black walnut wood. So I put a project to use by making this cage out of the black walnut with poplar sticks and a poplar perch, etc. Not a carpenter. What a nightmare working with black walnut is. Took my wife and I 6 hours each, so 12 hours combined. And man, that was a big nightmare. I probably would have gladly paid the $70, $80, $150 for one of these cages. But now I have an authentic replica that we built ourselves. But woo, man, even these primitive cages back then, what a pain. That's all I gotta say. One of those things where these projects that seem easy turn into absolute nightmares. So this is Scratch, aka Peanut, aka what's his other name, Henry?
Beepers.
Beepers, there we go. Yeah, I gave him that one. So this is Mr. Beeps, roughly the size of a canary. And it's the same thinking that a canary would be, that they had small air sacs. I don't know if they have 4 or how many, but a bird is extremely sensitive to bad air, toxins, all of it. So from inception of coal mining, over in Wales and Great Britain, they use these canaries for a long time in their coal mines, tin mines, etc. for bad air. But here in the US, when commercial mining took off about 20 years before the Civil War, so 1840s, 1850s, they would have used these canaries. I take this off the tripod.
Get closer.
Yep. Henry, my son here, is my little mine foreman today. He's helping us out because this is his bird, so he wants to supervise.
Okay.
So, and this bird loves him, absolutely loves him. Unfortunately, in the coal mines, these things probably would not have had love. Once they were in the cage, they would not have come out of the cage, most likely. They would have probably stayed underground also, like a mule. So here's a block of anthracite. Here's a flame safety lamp. In my next video here, this is an authentic teapot oil wick lamp from the 1870s. And I just re-wicked this properly tonight. Might leak, but we're gonna find out because in my next video we're going to redo this and light it up for the first time in 140 years properly. I did put a shoelace in it last video that this was on my channel, but it's a proper wick now. So going back to the cage here, this is roughly the construction that I found online. All they would have done was just sections of wood. I just chose black walnut because it had a nice aged look to it. And obviously the screws wouldn't have been period correct. Other than the screws, this is pretty accurate. And they just drilled through and put these dowels in. That was a process. I put like a little eyelet bolt, whatever you would call that, in to hang it. So you have your four corners with all your dowels, and then we have a couple dowels on the bottom. The pizza box cover here, because he's gonna poop on it. And Beepers is doing his thing. Sorry, black damp? Any black damp, buddy? So he's chirping away, so that's what the miners would have listened for. Canaries sing like this guy, and they would be making a lot of movement. You can see he gets fidgety. Henry, can you put your finger there? Have him come up to you.
Come here. Come here.
So he's just making a lot of movements.
Yeah.
So this would have been the setup, roughly, of a coal chamber. So where the miner is working at the face, he would have brought this. He would have stuck the timber into the coal layer or the overhead shale and hung this roughly about this far off the ground. That's going to give you enough reading if the working, say, about this high, 4-foot vein of coal for methane. And also it's going to give you ample for black damp there. So as the miner is blasting, he's going to obviously take the canary back with him. He's going to return into the chamber to test for methane and black damp and white damp. So if that bird succumbed, and how that bird would succumb was, it would be belly up on the floor. He would obviously know that that air was bad, and he would retreat from those workings and return with another canary and test. Very macabre and pretty awful, but again, that's the reality of 19th century coal mining. And this went in, most likely, to the 20th century. Up until that was invented, the flame safety lamp, the permissibles, this was it. It was the old Canary. And all they had was this teapot oil wick lamp. Now the teapots would also go out with black damp, and they would also spark methane explosions, if you've seen in my other videos. But these birds would usually go out. These birds would pass away quicker because they were just so sensitive. Now, unfortunately, that wasn't always a perfect indicator if the air was safe or not. Sometimes just the way these poor guys would die, they would die upright in an awkward position. And they would look like they were still on their perch because they were leaning against something. Maybe his tail feathers got stuck. And it's acting as like a pivot point, keeping him upright. And I've also heard that sometimes their claws, from passing away, I don't know if it was painful or what, just from the struggle of death, their nails would actually stick into their perches. So the miner would go over and look over and see that the bird was quiet, but it was still upright. So he would assume, okay, you know, the air's fine. And he too would succumb. Because don't forget, they're using this. This is just going to give off the same amount of light as a Bic lighter. So if that bird, because birds are going to be quiet in the dark. When you want birds to be quiet, you just turn off the lights. So they're not going to be chattering too much. I can attest from having parrots for my entire life, basically. He's so cute, isn't he? Mm-hmm. He's funny. So we have a parakeet in a canary replica mine cage. I'll just do a little walk around again here. So I guess the collieries would have had an abundant supply of these guys. In addition to the mules, they would have had, I assume, canary hatcheries of some sort. They must have went through a lot of these. What a travesty. Poor little thing. So methane he would have asphyxiated, but the methane's going to hang higher in the chamber, and obviously black damp is going to be lower. Black damp was the big killer though, because that would just snuff the life out of you. 17% oxygen or less. But these cages, I mean, I'm really proud of my wife. She really stepped it up because I was messing this project up. If you ever wondered what a canary cage looked like, this is one. They would have had a food trough in there. They would have had a water bowl in there. Could just be a piece of tin or somewhere used out of clay. Some could have either been a wood trough too, just like the food bowls, because the food bowls were wood troughs. I didn't replicate that just because there was no need. What do you think, Beeps? Is the air safe?
Yes.
It's safe?
Weird.
So lucky for this guy, it's not 1880 mining era, because he would be a good source for air detection. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like it if you haven't already. Subscribe. And if you want to see this lit properly for the first time since about 1886 is when this colliery shut down, where this came from. Let me know.
Okay. Should we get this?
Thanks again for watching. We're going to take Beepers back to his proper cage.
Wait, should we make another video?